What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, daily news, pretty much everything going on here in our country and in Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock market, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. Remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to do so. And if you haven't yet, make sure to hit the like button for us down below. First, we go to President Biden and a signing ceremony signing a bill into law. Here it is.
Sorry, Vice President, please. All right. Thank you.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Bravo. Thank you. Good job. Everybody gets one. All right. Thanks, everybody. Look, thanks for sharing this day with us. Why this day matters to you and your fellow iron workers and your families, and you explained it well. For all the folks at home, I know this day matters to you as well. I know you're tired of the bickering in Washington, frustrated by the negativity, and you just want us to use and focus on your needs, your concerns, and the conversations that are taking place at your kitchen table. Conversation as profound as they are ordinary. How do I find work? And how do I get there? How can our small business thrive and our child succeed in school? Or how do we emerge from this pandemic, not just with a little bit of breathing room, but with real fighting chance to get ahead? When we ran for president, I thought maybe I could help answer some of those questions for you and the needs you have. Because every time I'd ride home on Amtrak, I'd go through just north of just south of Baltimore. I'd look out, go through a suburban neighborhood. I'd look in all those lights are on in the windows, Nance, and I look and I wonder, what are they talking about? I'm serious. I swear to God. What are they talking about sitting at that table? What are they talking about? They're talking about the things that I talked about at our kitchen table, Jill at hers, and all of you as well. And that's about how can we come together to be president for all Americans, to make sure our democracy delivers for you, for all of you. And I promised that we couldn't just build back to what it was before. We literally had to build back better. You couldn't build back. We're the only country that's always come out of great crises stronger than we went in. The world has changed, and we have to be ready. My fellow Americans today, I want you to know we hear you and we see you.
Well, of course, President Biden is talking about the physical bipartisan infrastructure bill, which was passed by both some Republicans and mostly Democrats. 39 Republicans from both the Senate and House, including Senator Mitch McConnell, voted for this bill. But again, mostly Democrats passed this bill from the House and the Senate. $1.2 trillion physical infrastructure bill passed into law. It's a bill that have had Republicans and Democrats been trying to pass physical infrastructure for many, many years. Roads, bridges, clean drinking water, airports, waterway, ports, broadband, and something that has been quite a while since we've had this and needs to be implemented as fast as possible. Will create millions of jobs over the course of the next 8 to 10 years. Remember that just last month alone, 4.4 million people quit their jobs in the United States. So it's something that is really, really needed, especially with the supply chain problem that we're dealing with here in the United States. The ports backed up, hundreds of ships just sitting out at sea, waiting to get into the ports, inflationary concerns that we're dealing with, and something that physical infrastructure is a problem here in the United States. We have over a dozen countries in the world that are ranked ahead of us in infrastructure. So hopefully this will help us rise to the top. China spends multiple dozens of times more money as a percentage base, more in infrastructure. So we have not actually had an infrastructure bill like this at this scope ever. So it is something that we have drastically needed in quite a while.
It's unclear how many Republicans who supported this legislation, some of whom subsequently received death threats, will appear at the signing ceremony. That's just another indication of just how toxic and how challenging this political environment is for this administration to deal with. And a lot is now riding on this $1.2 trillion bill for the Democrats, politically and economically for the country, as the administration turns its focus to the complicated task of actually implementing this massive bill and then selling its benefits to the voters. Joining me now is one of the top White House officials tasked with implementing this bill and selling it to voters, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. So, Mr. Secretary, thank you for coming on. And I guess my first question is, how soon do you think money will start going out the door and the American people will start feeling the effects of what's in this bill?
Well, I'll tell you, the moment the president's ink is dry in his signature, we'll be getting down to work. As a matter of fact, we've been preparing for weeks and months to make sure that we're getting these dollars out efficiently and effectively. There are roads, bridges, ports, airports, and more around this country that have been waiting for years, often for decades, for the kinds of investments that we're finally going to be able to do. You know, presidents, administrations, Congresses have sought to do this, tried to do this, wanted to do this for literally as long as I've been alive, and it's finally happening. So we got some programs right now. They already exist. My department set them up, formulas, discretionary grants. We just have more dollars to work with. Those will be the first things to flow. But we also have to stand up whole new programs like the safety program, the Safe Streets for All program created by this bill, or the Protect initiative. That's about resilience in areas like, where you have a road getting washed out again and again because of climate change. And the only right answer is to move that road. So safe to say, in addition to the work that we'll be doing immediately, we will be developing and putting out programming for years to come, thanks to this landmark, historic piece of legislation.
You've obviously been intimately involved with the creation of this bill, with marketing it to the country. The White House just brought in Mitch Landrieu, the former mayor of New Orleans, to be involved in this. The buck stops where with the implementation of this bill?
Well, obviously, I take very seriously the responsibilities that we have for everything that flows through the Department of Transportation. That's over $280 billion of new funding, in addition to the baseline funding that was in the bill that we were planning on the whole time. And I can tell you that everyone in my organization feels the same way. We know that we have a responsibility to be creative, to be smart, to be entrepreneurial, but also to be very careful, cautious, and accountable with these dollars.
Now, as a counterpoint, Republicans say inflation is hurting Americans the most as of right now. And I could probably agree with that. Inflation right now is running really hot. A new report said that inflation right now is running the highest it has ever been in 30 years. GOP lawmakers on the Joint Economic Committee released an analysis on Monday to illustrate that inflation is, quote, especially harmful on poor and middle class Americans. The analysis cited global polling from the World Bank and International Monetary Fund researchers, which found that individuals who label themselves as very poor have a 10.5% higher chance of pointing to inflation as a top national concern, compared to individuals who consider themselves to be rich, which is why inflation is really affecting them, and I feel like a lot of people really need help right now. This analysis also cited research from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, which says that inflation decreases lifetime consumption opportunities for poor individuals at a higher rate than wealthy people. But infrastructure only gets us so far. It is something that we have needed for many, many years. It will help lower inflation, possibly get our shelves stocked up, and get things back on the shelves, reduce the supply chains constraints, and get people back to work and help get jobs filled. But as you can see here, the Build Back Better bill, the next stimulus package, will do a lot to reduce costs and a lot of other things as well. The Democrats continue to say that they expect to pass the $1.75 trillion Biden package this week, the stimulus package or the Build Back Better package or the American Families Plan this week. It's not really 1.75 trillion anymore. It's more like 2 to 2.4 trillion, but that's going to be trimmed back down once they pass it in the House, and then it goes back to the Senate. Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal, leader of the Democratic Progressive Caucus, which has 96 members underneath her, has reaffirmed that we will have a vote this week. She says yes. The short answer is yes. We will have a vote this week in the House of Representatives, and the Congressional Budget Office score is the details that they are waiting for. Democrats feel they are on the verge of a huge milestone in the House where passing it would be a huge victory for the party. House moderate holdouts have vowed to support the bill when it comes to the floor this week, even as they continue to wait for the new numbers from the Congressional Budget Office to see if the package will add to the deficit. The moderate Democrats, the moderate holdouts, are the ones that would be the ones that would maybe vote no for this. They're saying that they have vowed to continue to support the bill. And they're the ones that would maybe vote no. So I guess that's a positive sign. It's hard to really tell if they're planning on doing a last minute vote tonight. It doesn't seem that way. It looks like they're maybe planning on voting sometime this week based on their statements. We'll have to see in the morning. I'll keep you up to date. Their statements say they plan on voting this week, but their original agreement was to vote today on the 15th. Guess we'll find out. The Treasury Department has sent out the fifth monthly payment under the child tax credit, the $250 to $300 monthly payments called the child tax credits. Hopefully you got it. $250 to $300 per month per child for 65 million children. Of course, we know that the IRS seems to have a debacle or a fiasco every single month for this. And honestly, there's a chance that this could be the last payment, with the debt limit coming next month on or around December 3rd. If they can't pass this package before then, which is only around 2.5 weeks from now. Because if they don't pass this next stimulus package in the House and the Senate by then, that means the Treasury runs out of money. The Treasury runs out of money. That basically means that the country goes default, runs out of money, can't print any more money until Congress passes a law to do that. And even President Biden has said that Social Security payments could be delayed. Payments to the military, bond interest payments, pretty much anything having to do with money coming from the government could be delayed. The next and last final payment to 65 million children, the child tax credit, would be on December 15th. Of course, in this next stimulus package, they want to do one more year of payments, but they have to pass the package in the House and the Senate and finalize everything and agree on everything, including with Senator Joe Manchin in the Senate, pass it in the House and the Senate. So they have to actually do all that. So yeah, so there's a lot really on the line here. The country defaulting. Remember, they could come to an agreement with the Republicans, but Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer kind of sealed the fate on that when they passed that last temporary agreement and then slammed the Republicans, and then they've kind of vowed to basically not help the Democrats again, even though it's kind of the job of the Republicans and the Democrats to do this. It's right. That's why we elect officials, right? Nonetheless, Republicans and Democrats can't seem to agree on anything, even when they pass a physical infrastructure package. The Republican Party is basically turning on all the Republicans that even voted for it, even though infrastructure is something that has always, or for a long time, been something. Physical infrastructure has been something that Republicans have long been for. A lot of Republicans actually wrote parts or some of the bill, and then some of the Republicans that actually wrote parts of the bill didn't even vote for the bill, even though they were for it when they wrote the bill. When it came time to vote for the bill, didn't vote for it on kind of principle. A lot of Republicans actually said that they're for infrastructure, but they just don't want to vote for the bill because it would help the Democrats and the president, President Biden. So, yeah, it's just it's a very, very divided political atmosphere. Kind of the same old, same old. It kind of feels like it's always somewhat this way, right? I mean, but it feels a little more lopsided right now because everything is kind of Democratic right now. We have a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, a Democratic presidency. It was actually this way. It feels like not that. I mean, it feels like a long time ago, but back in 2017, 2018, the Republicans had control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. A lot of people, it feels like forever ago, but a lot of people don't really even remember that. But that's in the 2017 Trump tax cuts. The Republicans had control of all three as well. And that's when they passed through the reconciliation process the 2017 Trump tax cuts. So kind of feels like that at any given time, everything could flip. And we just had that new poll come out that said if the election were to go down right now, that the Republicans actually have the largest lead that they've ever had at this point right now, based on the new polling. So yeah, it's kind of a back and forth right now. You know, it's just a very it's just a tough atmosphere right now for everybody, for Democrats, for Republicans. Republicans that voted for physical infrastructure are getting threats against them, and their kind of thing is that what are you talking about? We've always been for physical infrastructure. Even Mitch McConnell voted for it. I mean, because he kind of knows. He's like, what are you guys talking about? We need physical infrastructure. He went back to the state and said, this is something that Kentucky needs. We've needed this for a long time. But you know, and then he has former President Donald Trump basically calling him an old crow, and Mitch McConnell's like, "We tried to do a $2 trillion infrastructure package when you were president, remember?" And it's just, and but Trump's like saying, "But you did it underneath Biden," then they say, "But we tried to do it underneath your presidency." So it's politics 101, right? It's just you can't win either way. What you know, whether you do it under a Democratic president, then the Republicans are mad. You do it under a Republican president, the Democrats are mad. It's just it seems to never really be about people, the economy, what's good for the United States, what's good for. It's always Democrat, Republican, right? Why is it like that? So, nonetheless, yeah, so now they can focus on getting out this physical infrastructure money and that package. They can now focus on passing this next stimulus package. We've had 3 stimulus packages so far. They can focus on this next stimulus package, everything they're going to put in there. And hopefully, we'll see what is going to be in this next package and get as much out in that. As well as remember that they've already confirmed there is going to be another stimulus package after this, hopefully a large Social Security raise as well. Remember, there was just 2 bills introduced last week to raise the Social Security benefits by several $100s per month as well. So that would be a huge lifesaver for tens of millions of Americans on Social Security benefits. So I know that would be a welcome change. I just did a recent video on that I will link you to here in a moment. So let me know your thoughts here. I will keep you up to date with everything. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe down below. I will keep you up to date. It's completely free to subscribe. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And this video is about the Social Security raises. You definitely want to watch that if you haven't yet. That is something that could change the lives of many people on Social Security. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.